Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 2019 on the channel. We're racing with the Haas Racing Team and we've got the Bahrain Grand Prix coming up. As you can see, our contract is going very well. We're smack on with value with what Haas think we should be worth, and we're going to go and have a look at a bit of R&D. So we go into we go into the R&D tree, and we can see we've got powertrain, aerodynamics, we also have durability and chassis that we can go and work on. But I would like to work on some aerodynamic stuff, but you can see we've got the morale modifier, so the upgrade price is increased by 2% and failure chance increased by 1% because of stuff that I've said in press conferences that has pretty much pissed the aerodynamics team off. So we'll go and have a look at something else instead. We'll have a look at some durability. So the section basically can make improvements, but there's also a weight loss we can do for the chassis, but I've pissed them off as well. So durability looks to be a little bit better. We don't have any punishments on that, so we can increase the durability of all engine parts by 10%, which is very nice indeed. And then you can see that leads to other things. We're going to have a look at the powertrain. We haven't annoyed them, so we might as well get the spark plug upgrade, which will give us slightly better engine performance overall during the rest of the season, which is good. So it increases our engine power. That'll cost us 500 development points. We've got quite a lot stored up. We've still got 1,500 to work on. So we're just going to go and have a look at some other things that we can do. So we know we've got durability on the go in development. And obviously we've got the perk, which allows us to develop two things in the same category at once as well. So we will go for the weight reduction modifier in the central weight. We'll have to pay a little bit extra for it, but we'll get it done anyway. And we'll go from there. So hopefully they will take 1 week.
Practice is just about to get underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. This track boasts plenty of opportunities for overtakes, so it's up to the drivers to make use of the time to get comfortable with the track conditions. That's if they want to capitalise on those opportunities later.
So we dive straight into practice 2. Actually, we did do practice 1, but there was nothing really to show from there. So we're going to practice 2, which is run at the sort of temperature and time as the actual race and qualifying. So this is more likely where you can get a good idea of where you're going to qualify in the race. So we're going into the qualifying pace time trial sort of practice session, as we'll flick on the screen in just a second. So we get the DRS open down the long start finish straight, and you say qualifying pace program has started. Our target is 11th. That's what they want us to sort of aim for, and they've predicted that a time for 11th will be 1 minute 36 seconds, 0.435, and we get just through that corner quite well, and you can see we're just around the delta time, flicking between about 0.04 seconds above and below it, and it's just the braking at the moment allows us to get into these good positions. So we're going to be pretty slow compared to the AI in the straights because I'm running the default setup. I've not changed the setup to understand if we want to increase our downforce through the corners or reduce our wing aerodynamics to give us faster straight line speed. I've just kept it default to allow us to see what we can do through the car as we come into the tight left-hander, and this always causes me problems, this corner. I normally run a little bit wide from it, and straight at the end of it is a DRS zone, so that will give the AI a time to catch us up as we run. But it does look like we're making pretty good time on this lap as we run into the left-hander up the hill, where you can do a left then a right bend, and there's a pretty decent overtaking opportunity here against the AI because they let off as you go up the hill. As you can see, we actually complete a fast sector 2 as part of our team objective, which is good, and we're about a second ahead of our delta time that we're expected, so this could look pretty good for qualifying when it actually comes to that situation after practice 3, as we go around the right hand bend into the start finish straight where you go past the main grandstand and the pit lane. And we'll see. It looks like we're going to have enough about us to complete this.
Good lap. We've hit our primary target time. We're happy with that.
And we do, which is absolutely brilliant. So we do have a new objective, but I don't think we're actually going to complete that.
Cars now over the line. Let's see our top 3 again. Leclerc, Wang and Valtteri Bottas. And if today's practice is anything to go by, we're in for an exceptional weekend of Formula 1.
So on the soft tyre we do set a 1:35.9, which is lovely, and we dive straight into practice 3 where we're going to try and do the same program again and see if we can improve on that time that we set last time. And it's going to be interesting. I don't think we will. The temperature and track conditions aren't the best in this heat. You can quite easily overheat your tyres and the engine itself, so we'll go through. Again, it's saying the target is 11th to 1:36.165. but we're aiming for try and beat that. So we set a 135.4 in the last session. Well, I don't know if we're going to beat it in this track temperature. As I said, it's going to be very hot here in Bahrain, and we need to make sure we're doing it. But it's all good practice to get laps in the car and get laps under our belt to understand how the corners move.
The session has drawn to a close, so let's review our top three. Vettel, Gasly and Lewis Hamilton. And that's it, practice is officially over. Until next time, goodbye.
So you see in practice 3 on the medium tyres, we actually set our fastest 2 seconds slower.
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us, and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go. I expect we'll be getting underway very shortly. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
The teams will have arrived with all manner of parts designed to capitalise on the long straights. The cars will be that much harder to drive in the corners, but everyone will be in the same boat.
So here we go then into one-shot qualifying as we already lose pace on Lucas Weber as we're going through here. Can we get into a good position? So we finished approximately, I think it was 6th or 7th with that lap time we set in practice 2. We need to make sure we can maintain that speed going forward as we get DRS open, and that's Hamilton that is setting the fastest time at the moment. As we run down into the corner, take the right-hander. We go around the bend as we come down into a nice left and right chicane. You have to really drop down through the gears, go to another left-hand bend and get on the foot, get on the accelerator as you come down, take the right-hander, and this is where you really need to take this corner well because you're coming across now to the very tight left-hander that always sets me up for failure. As we come through, Hamilton is absolutely flying in his qualifying lap, as you can see. We are just about keeping pace, but we are very much behind him as we open up DRS again, struggling to get the quick gear changes we need. 4th, 5th, 6th, up through the gears as we go to 7th, drop down 3 gears into 4th and take the uphill left-hander, then turn around into a right-hand bend, which I've already commented to say is a good position. You can effectively overtake the AI if you get the pace. Drop down into 3rd to take the right hand downhill, and then you're going to go all the way, foot to the floor, and take the right-hander into the start-finish straight. And we're going to have to see, is this going to be a decent qualifying time? Can we get into the top 10 qualifying positions and set us up for another points finish really well? As we come down the start-finish straight, get the DRS open, chasing Hamilton. He goes off into the distance, and he sets a 1:33.
We're very happy with that position. Well done.
And we've got 6th, which is lovely stuff in the Haas, probably beating potentially both the Red Bulls.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top 3. Hamilton, Vettel and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
So we finished 6th with a 1:34.8, which was lovely. We absolutely smashed Grosjean,
Right.
who
I think
finished
we can call
10th.
that a successful qualifying. We should be in with a good chance in the race.
So Jeff is very happy as we get our pre-race weather forecast, but let's get into it.
Something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Bahrain has showed us many times in the past though, Anthony Davidson, that a good strategy will only take you so far. Beyond that, you need good racecraft and you need good consistency.
And a little bit of luck too, I'd say. This is one of those circuits where the safety car always seems to come out just at the right time to condense the field together and mix up the cars on different strategies. It's hard on brakes, it's tough on fuel, and the main overtaking opportunity is down into turn 1, where it's easy to outbrake your opponent and potentially have a bit of argy-bargy as well.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Bottas, Max Verstappen, Wang, Gasly, Weber, Perez, and Roman Grosjean. Butler, Russell, Lando Norris, and Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Albon, Robert Kubica, and Daniel Kvyat. Giovinazzi and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So as Jeff said, we've got a good points finished in the last race, and we're going to try and do a similar tactic to what we did in Australia. So we're going to try and lower our fuel a little bit and change our pit strategy to come in a lap earlier, I think, or maybe a lap later. I can't remember which one we do. A lap later to come in. So stay out a little bit longer and then go from the soft to the mediums, and let's see how we get on. So we'll get ready for 5 red lights as we're on the start spots. It's 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we're away. It's a very short wait for the lights to go out, and we get a pretty decent start. However, the Racing Point cars behind us got even better starts, and Perez and Lucas Weber seem to get round us. We brake heavily, avoiding contact on the first corner with anyone, and we get a good little exit out of that, and we're going to come down into it. Now, just a hit with Gasly, but there's no reports of damage from the team back in the garage. We're going racing with Gasly wheel to wheel, you can see there, when we come down. Take that far too quickly, didn't manage to drop down the gears quick enough. At contact with Verstappen.
Mind that front wing, it'll need replacing if it takes too much damage.
And as Jeff says, we have got a bit of damage on the front wing. I think we've lost an end plate, which will affect our downforce and the aerodynamics, but we do find ourselves up into 4th position, which is very nice indeed. And we're chasing down Max Verstappen in his much quicker Red Bull than we've got in the Haas, and he takes the corner very well. We drop down to 2nd and trying to get on it. Now we lose the back end a little bit and give a chance for Charles Leclerc's Ferrari behind us to really make an attempt to get past, but we're just about keeping our distance. We're going to stick with this view with Charles Leclerc for the moment as he sees a gap up the inside, but it's closed off for him, and we just get our foot down onto the pedal as Leclerc comes forward, still chasing us around the right turn, up the hill, touches the curb, looks to pull inside as we go back down the hill on a right hand bend, comes through. It looks like he's going to have the pace from the slipstream to go around us. We switch to the cockpit cam and he makes that move look very, very easily as he jumps past us on the left hand side around the outside. We have to give him the space because he had already forced us well, and we'd find ourselves into 5th. And after a good start, we've gone up 1 place from our starting place on the grid. But here comes Valtteri Bottas as well in the much quicker Mercedes.
You'll be on the mediums.
As we enter lap 2, we find ourselves back in 6th. We try to go inside of Bottas again to do a switchback manoeuvre, but he closes off that gap and we can't get our foot down quick enough, and Bottas secures 5th place. As you can see, we chase him in the external camera views. We're really putting our foot to the floor. We've had a good start with Haas at the moment. We need these upgrades to kick in to give us a bit better straight line speed and a bit better downforce in the corners. However, we are starting very well indeed as we go through the chicane out to the left hand bend coming down. Slow down considerably to go through the right hand, where you've got to get your foot down to get as much pace as possible before the really sharp left hand turn. As you can see, everybody forming into an order now as we've got I think that's Pierre Gasly behind us as we chase Bottas, and Gasly is also under pressure from Lucas Weber, Devon Butler, and then the other the Racing Point. Sorry, I've got to get used to calling them by their real name, as the Haas car does look very nice in these Bahrainian floodlights that we've got going on. As we're still chasing Bottas down, and we're just going to come to the end of the 2nd lap as we take the final corner. And is this the final corner, or is it going into, the start finish straight, 5th, 6th, and up to 7th, and DRS will be activated at this lap. And we're just about keeping a gap to Pierre Gasly behind us, as this is the final corner, as we come round, then into the start finish straight, go up through the gears. Vettel sets the fastest lap time, only to be outdone by Charles Leclerc, his teammate.
DRS is now enabled. Will be available to use when you are within 1 second of the car ahead in the DRS zone.
Thank you for that, Jeff, letting us know DRS is available as we take the corner, get on the power a little bit too early, and we're still trying to chase Bottas. We have let Gasly come really close behind us now, as you can see there, down this straight as DRS kicked in. He's going to make a move, You just see at the end of that camera that he makes a move to the right hand side, but we just about shut him off the racing line, force him to go a bit too hard onto the curb. But Gasly is right on our tail in a much faster Red Bull, and he's sitting right behind us as we enter the chicane. And we exit the chicane. We're still chasing Valtteri Bottas. We've got to try and keep within that 1 second time difference to make sure we get DRS, but I don't think we're going to do it. Looking at the gap there, that's quite a large gap, and Gasly's definitely going to have the 1 second on us as we come into the tight left-hander, and we'll soon see we don't have DRS, but Gasly opens it immediately as Verstappen is chasing Leclerc. Bottas doesn't have DRS either, so he's not really going to pull away from us, and Gasly didn't have enough time to make the space as we come up the hill on the left-hander, take that corner much better than the first time, then go around the right-hand bend, not lifting up, but we do go up to 7th gear, drop down into 4th to take the downhill right-hand bend as we come through and still chasing Bottas, and there's a bit of the gap between Verstappen to Bottas and Bottas to us is very similar, so at least we know at the moment Bottas isn't going to be able to really extend too far away with the use of DRS. We again miss out on DRS, and Gasly is going to have it coming down the straight finish, and let's see what's happening. So
this lap, we're leading our teammate by 4.2 seconds.
And as Jeff is talking, Gasly does come down the inside. He's got the racing line on the inside of that corner. We have to give him the space to make the pass. And Gasly goes up into 6th. We've upped everything to rich mode for fuel mix and into overtake mode with ERS. That will hopefully see us get back at Gasly. We're keeping up with him even though he's got his DRS open. We look down the inside again but can't make the move happen. And now we've got to chase that Red Bull, but it is a much faster car than us. And we've also got to be aware with Lucas Weber on our behind, and he's also very close by David Butler as well. So the 3 F2 or 4 people from F2 are in a line and chasing each other. Sorry, no, Gasly was in Toro Rosso, but we get a warning for exceeding track limits. So our first warning of basically corner cutting in this. We drop down into 2nd gear. Still hot on Gasly's tail. We do have DRS this time. A bit slow on the power. So we take Jeff's advice and drop down into mix 2. We go a bit too fast into the uphill left-handed bend, coming around towards sector 3 as we go, towards sector 2, the end of sector 2. We drop in, chasing Gasly, trying to drop in, but you can see a 1.5 second delay, and we get another track warning as Jeff reminds us that we're coming into the pits for our set of fresh medium tyres. And we've got Lucas Weber looking up the inside of us. He decides not to make a move at this corner, and he will jump in front of us as we go into the pits. So we just pull in here, and there goes Lucas Weber taking the move. Now likelihood is we're going to come out at the bottom of the pile of the race. As the whole train goes past us, there's probably going to be quite a big gap, but we should be able to make it up and do an undercut pit strategy again. So as we're waiting for the others to come into pit, we should get places back. As you can see, a complete clear track in front of us. I expect we'll be around about 10 seconds behind the last car, which will possibly be Carlos Sainz. Yeah.
No more scheduled pit stops.
So we come out in 20th position. Carlos Sainz obviously with the grid penalty after qualifying down in 19th, and Giovinazzi up to 18th. But we'll have to see. It's all a risk because we've just got to take these corners well, take the track really well, hit the apexes, go as fast as we can, and hope that the strategy pays off with the early pit stop before everybody else, and just try and make up these positions as best we can. So we were behind Pierre Gasly and in front of Lucas Weber when we entered the pit, so we'd be looking to come out around about that sort of position. When everybody else takes their pits, we'll be looking to come out around about Pierre Gasly or Lucas Weber as we take the right-hander pretty well. We've got to get the pace up just before we come into the really tight left-hander into the base of the curve here, and we actually hit the apex. Okay, a bit too slow, only 60 to 70 kilometers an hour, which I need to change so that it says miles an hour because I'm British. But we come through a pretty slow first sector as you'd expect out of the pit stops. Let's see how it's going to compare with our previous second sector. Are we going to hit a fast sector? It feels like this should be a pretty good second sector time. As we come around, we have to ease off, otherwise we're going to lose the track limits. We drop down. We're still behind in the second sector. It's not our best one. It is a 12-second gap to Carlos Sainz, but I imagine there will be people pitting, if not this lap, definitely lots of people pitting on the next lap, lap number 6 of this 25% Bahrainian Grand Prix, as we come round the corner into the start-finish straight again, past the grandstand, past the pit lane, and nobody's in at the moment. So let's see if they all come in on lap number 6, as we really get our foot down up into 8th gear, hitting just above 300 kilometers an hour down that start finish straight. We actually take that corner much better than previous corners that we've done before, and over the curb very fairly into a DRS zone if we had it, but we don't because there's no car within a second in front of us. But we come round into the right hand bend again, drop down into 3rd, take it well, and we skip forward to the end of lap number 7, where you can see a lot of cars in the pit. So we pass a number of cars, a Renault, a McLaren, and we come out behind Bottas, who's in 9th. So, and Gasly is back behind us, which means we've actually made a position up thanks to that pit stop. So we said we went in and it was Bottas, Gasly, us and Lucas Weber, and we've come out when they've all done their pit stops. We've come out in 10th position as we look up the inside for Bottas, but again don't just have the pace to get past him. But yeah, the pit stop strategy seems to have worked and given us a place back in the race as we go a bit too quickly into the corner. Bottas just holds his line really well. He's going to take his race line. We again have a little look up the inside, but nothing's on for that one. As Bottas now comes forward, he gets his acceleration down. We're coming into the tight left corner as Jeff tells us to push. As Bottas has, we had a little free jump screen freeze there. Sorry. As Bottas just sort of moved across us, but we get DRS on Bottas, so we can have enough to get him. We've gone up to overtake mode for the ERS deployment as well, but we're not going to have enough, and we go a little bit quick into the corner, just avoid contact with Bottas's right back tyre, back onto the power. Gasly has closed the gap into us. We've set our quickest first sector of the race for us, and we drop down the inside of Bottas and make the move really well. He didn't see that coming, and we jump up to 9th position now. But don't think we're going to catch Verstappen as he's quite far ahead, but he may not have pitted just yet. He probably hasn't, because Pierre Gasly was in front of Max Verstappen and now he's behind us, but we do still have Bottas and Gasly behind us as we go into lap number 9, as we have a quick look behind us to see there. So a good first sector, and the second and third sectors were pretty slow, but that's probably because we were battling with Bottas throughout as we go a bit wide into the corner, but we hold enough of the racing line just to stop the overtake from Bottas as we signed ourselves in 5th position, so one up from where we qualified, as we see some nice camera angles and views of the replay cameras just showing how majestic the Haas looks in the Bahrainian floodlights. And we take that corner a little bit too understeery going over the curb, but I just love how it looks. And then our obviously bright yellow and purple helmet really makes us stand out from the crowd as number 13 comes down the right hand curb, looking just to make sure we can keep hold of this 5th place in the Bahrainian Grand Prix. If we can, it would be absolutely brilliant. Qualifying in 6th and then getting 5th would really be good for this Haas team. As we come down the start finish straight, applause from the fans, and we come down, take that corner really wide yet again, and look to move away. You can see there's a bit of a train forming behind us now as people are getting held up. But we come back to lap 13 with Gasly making the move on us, and we find ourselves back in 6th. So a very disappointing corner saw Gasly jump in front of us, and Lucas Weber is now in 7th place. Bottas has just dropped off the pace completely as Jeff's asking us to charge the battery, but that's not going to happen as we go into the last lap. We're going to look to get everything we possibly can out of this car and see if we can catch Pierre Gasly. There's a yellow flag
Final lap of the race.
at the end of sector 2. The yellow flag is for Perez, who is not going to finish the session. He is out of the race.
The second lap on the car behind.
And you can see, thanks to Jeff there, we are a second lap quicker than Lucas Weber behind us in 7th. So it looks like we're going to get 6th unless we have a monumental mess up,
Only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
or Pierre Gasly has a mess up or an engine issue that allows us to catch him. But he seems to be keeping good pace into these, and he's on fresher tyres than us, which means he should be able to keep the grip a lot better than us. We have to take these corners pretty slowly now as we run through, coming into the tight left-hand bend for the last time in the Bahrainian Grand Prix. And then we're going to go up the hill on the left-hand bend and then hit the peak of the hill where we did that wonderful manoeuvre on Bottas to get up into 7th or 6th, I think it was, at that point of the race. As we come down here, get a good braking zone on, we get our ERS deployment back up into overtake mode as we rested it a bit round the corners. We come through up the hill. Are we going to lift off? We have to lift off just to make sure we don't go over the track limits. drop down into third. We cut that corner but don't get a penalty for it as Vettel wins the race in Red Bull colours. In Ferrari colours. The prancing horse has won the Bahrainian Grand Prix. So we come into the start-finish straight. We're not going to be able to catch Gasly. It's going to be a 6th place finish as the fireworks go off for Sebastian Vettel, for Team Ferrari. We get a lovely finish with Haas.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
6th place, very happy with that, but Ferrari are the winners of the day.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Ferrari are at it again, an excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
So another really good win for Ferrari that will probably see them go top of the Constructors' Championship as, first and a 2nd place finish for Ferrari with Hamilton in 3rd. It's going to make an interesting step after going into the 3rd race in China. Let's see how the standings look.
Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
My driver of the day has to be, no question, Antonio Giovinazzi. Such an assured drive from one of the sport's newer stars, and a performance he can be very, very proud of.
Let's move on to the constructors. Ferrari take the lead at the top of the table. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So a good 6th place finish for us, 10th place for Roman Grosjean, and Sergio Perez did not finish. They only did not finish in the whole race, but good to see that we are dominating our teammate in the thing. But he did pick up a point, which is great for Haas. So let's go back into the workstation and see what Jeff's got to say.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts.
After the interview with Claire.
You had a pretty close finish with Lucas. What's it like racing a former teammate?
It can be very challenging, but it really helps. I've got a car that does everything I ask of it.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
The team are thrilled, but it's always for the fans. You have to put on a good show when you're in these sorts of races.
Do you have any comments about the collisions?
There was a few of them. It made it quite hard to work on. I want to try and not piss off too many of my team, but the wear on car was making it a bit unpredictable.
Appreciate your time.
No problem, Claire, thank you. So the rivalry breakdown then, we do beat Grosjean on all things other than the podium where neither of us got that, and we will be selecting a rival before the race against China in the next episode. But we get a good number of resource points. Obviously we've just spent a load developing new parts for the car, which will hopefully be in place for the Chinese Grand Prix, but we do get a number of more points, so up to 2,500, and then an extra 600 points for the practice programs we've completed. Sees us doing very well, and our reputation with Haas is skyrocketing, which is great. All very, very nice
Excellent
indeed.
Result today. Finishes like that will look good on your contract reviews. On to the next one.
So we get a quick debrief from Carl, and it's all going very well. And let's move into the R&D just to have a quick look back at what we're doing. So you can see now we've got poor morale from the chassis, aerodynamics and durability, which is all quite annoying. But we need to sort that out in press conferences and go back to it. But it's going pretty well. So in progress then, just as a reminder, we've got the spark plugs, the weight reduction and general maintenance for durability. Hopefully all will be sorted for the next race against China, which is when we will be back, and we will be seeing you then for the Chinese Grand Prix, which has a number of turns that I really, really hate. But if you are enjoying the series, please do leave a like, please subscribe if you're new, and we'll be back for the Chinese Grand Prix.